Welcome back, good people. How we doing on this Friday morning, January 31st, 2025. Welcome back. We're about to get right into it. We're not even gonna hesitate. We're not gonna pump fake. We're gonna stay on our pivot, and we're gonna get going pretty early this morning, y'all. I feel pretty outstanding this morning, so I send those vibes to you. Let's get right into it. This is where we left off yesterday. They'd given Miss Martha Louise two sizable fish. Afterwards, they headed back to the party, entering the space with a long sigh of relief after putting down the heavy bucket without spilling this time. A feeling of uncertainty flooded little Jacob's mind. With all eyes on him, a befuddled smile appeared on his face. I'm just gonna say uneasy. I understand. I understand befuddled. I know what that means, but it doesn't fit my, where I'm at right now at the time. So I'm just gonna say uneasy. And uneasy smiled. Y'all forgive me if the words are a little repetitious right now. I'll go back. They had given Miss Martha Louise two sizable fish. Afterwards, they headed back to the party, entering the space with a long sigh of relief after putting down the heavy bucket without spilling this time. A feeling of uncertainty flooded Jacob's mind. With all eyes on him, an uneasy smile appeared on his face. He'd made it, but things weren't the same. Something had changed. Well, goodness, said Henry as he put down his own bucket. With a surprised glare, his eyes were locked on a familiar face. Glaringly. Let's just say his eyes were locked on a face. One thing, I kind of like study Stephen King a little bit, not a lot, but I know he hate. One of his pet peeves is that he doesn't like writing a lot of adjectives. Excuse me. He doesn't like writing like glaring. Like I was gonna write glaringly. And I understand, because that's like cheating. If you're always writing an adjective, that goes back to what I said earlier, or what I always say. You're telling the reader instead of showing. Like he was sadly, or she was smilingly, or instead of showing and allowing the reader to use his or her imagination. Okay. Well, goodness, said Henry as he put down his own bucket. His eyes were locked on the familiar face. Frederick White Sr. There should be a comma. It was Frederick Sr. I had to put White. Frederick Sr. It was Frederick Sr. Just look at what the wind blew in, Henry said with an uneasy smile. Okay, I said uneasy twice. Okay. Henry said. All right, y'all. Henry said. Yeah, I guess you could say that, replied Frederick. Now standing while straddling the bench, Fred and Henry shook hands. Okay, wait a minute. Yeah, I guess you can say that, replied Frederick, now standing while straddling the bench. Okay, so this needs to go here. I don't need to have step down there. I need to put a period here. Yeah, I guess you can say that, replied Frederick, standing while straddling the bench. replied Frederick. He stood. While straddling the bench, said Frederick. He stood while straddling the bench. Fred and Henry shook hands and embraced the way two black men do as a greeting. Next, it was Jacob's turn to greet the near stranger. Though shaking hands with Mr. Fred had caused the boy more pain, he didn't show it. All right, let's go back, and I want to emphasize that there's a lot of stuff that still has to get done, y'all. So don't panic, please. Don't panic. And like I said, like I'm getting in the habit of saying now, put me on, man. Put me on. Put me on when you lay down at night and you can't sleep. It's nothing like a boring voice to put you to sleep, right? Or if the voice is boring, don't put me on while you're driving, because I don't want you to run off the road and wake up in the hospital, wondering what went on. But if it's somewhat entertaining, put me on while you're driving. If you're cooking dinner for the family, you in the kitchen whipping up, just cutting up onions and mushrooms, and you got I made my version of shepherd's pie last night. And it was ground lamb, potatoes, carrots, onions, and little garlic powder, seasoning, salt, pepper. It came out quite well, y'all. It was good. I just ate the rest of it. I don't think my family had any of it, But anyways, well, goodness, said Henry as he put down his own bucket. Wait, I was going to go back up for a second. Let me see. Entering the space with a long sigh of relief after putting down the heavy bucket without spilling this time, a feeling of uncertainty flooded Jacob's mind. Entering the space with a long sigh of relief after putting down the heavy bucket without spilling this time. Okay, a feeling of relief. Entering the space with a long sigh. His hand and shoulder was relieved as he put They'd given Miss Martha Louise 2 sizable fish. Afterwards, they headed back to the party, entering the space with a long sigh. They'd given Miss Martha Louise 2 sizable fish. Afterwards, they headed back to the party. Entering the space with a long sigh, Jacob's hand and shoulder was relieved after putting down the heavy bucket without spilling this time. A feeling of uncertainty flooded Jacob's mind. But the wooziness. How do you spell wooziness? Oh, there we go. The wooziness. That's another word I have never written. but the wooziness was still there. But the wooziness was still there. With all eyes on him, an uneasy smile appeared on his face. He'd made it, but things weren't the same. Something had changed. "Well, goodness," said Henry as he put down his own bucket. His eyes were locked on the familiar face. It was Frederick Sr. It was Frederick Sr. "Just look at what the wind blew in," Henry said. "Just look at what the wind blew in." "Yeah, I guess you can say that," replied Frederick. He stood while straddling the bench. All right. Fred and Henry shook hands and embraced the way two black men do as a greeting. Next, it was Jacob's turn to greet the near stranger. Though shaking hands with Mr. Fred had caused the boy more pain, he didn't show it. As the two men started catching up on the happenings in their lives, Fred, not being completely honest, Henry assuming as much by the avoidance of eye contact, Lily assumed the normal position of harassing Jacob. "Looks like that bucket was heavy," she said with a smirk. "Looks like your bottom lip is too," Jacob countered. "Whatever, ugly duckling," said Lily. Then, as though they weren't going tit for tat, Jacob asked, "Hey, guess what?" "What?" Lily followed. With a glassy stare, the girl was now admiring her father. "We caught some of your cousins today." All right, so then, as though they weren't going tit for tat, Jacob asked, "Hey, guess what?" Jacob asked with exuberance. I know I'm using words over. Y'all listen, I can hear the chitter chatter. I can hear you guys. And again, put me on when you're at the dealership, a Toyota, a Honda, Ford, Chevy, Subaru dealership, whatever dealership, Kia, getting your oil changed, and you got at least 4 hours to spare because I don't know, I can't say that anymore. I went to Toyota a couple weeks ago, and the last 2 times I've gone to Toyota to get an oil change, it was like 30 minutes, and that's something brand new to me. I'm used to going to Toyota and waiting no less than 2 hours. So I was like, whoa, oh, I know what it is. They're competing with Jiffy Lube now. They're competing with these oil change places that only take about 10 minutes to change your oil. They're competing because people are getting sick and tired of, wasting all their valuable time at a dealership and then spending $200 for an oil change when you can go down the street to Jiffy Lube or what's the other place? Not Gerald's. We got Gerald's here in Circular, but there's so many places you can go. In and Out, that's one of them. You can go to these places and spend $50 and be out in less than 30 minutes, so that's how it works, man. Then, as though they weren't going tit for tat, Jacob asked with exuberance, "Hey, guess what?" "What?" Lily followed with a glassy stare at the girl. Lily, "What?" Lily, "What?" Lily asked. With a glassy stare, the girl was now admiring her father. With a glassy stare, the girl's attention was back on her father. The girl's attention was back on her dad. Y'all just keep coming around, man. That's all I can tell you. Just keep coming around. What? Lily asked with annoyance. Lily asked, annoyed. Lily asked. With a glassy stare, the girl's attention was back on her father. We caught some of your cousins today. Want to see? The boy added, while moving the heavy bucket next to Lily's feet. All right, Jake, be nice, said Henry to his son. I never pay attention to him, Mr. Wallace. He has a crush on me. That's why he acts like that, Lily insisted. A tight smile that unwillingly held his lips together. A tight smile. A begrudging. I'm still rusty, and for anybody who's listening for the first time, I have not written like continuously on one book for more than 5 years. I did have a book come out in 2023 called Illmanic. That book is about mental illness. It's called Illmanic, not Illmatic. Not to be confused with Nas's first debut studio album, Illmatic, though it was a play on the word. So I'm a little rusty. I'm still a little rusty. I kind of got away from writing for a while. Not writing, but I wasn't writing because I had so much to do. When you're working on a book, trying to get a book finished, publishing, editing. And then you have a job, and you still got family things to do. You still got things around the house you got to do. Plus, I started gardening in 2020. A lot of stuff was taking up my time, so I'm a little bit past. I'm not as rusty as I was when I started on this story again, but there's a lot to be said about where I'm not at as a writer, because I'm rusty, but I'm knocking off the cobwebs and ironing out all the kinks. Plus, I'm doing something brand new as well. As like I said, I'm on camera. That's not to be taken lightly. These videos have the potential to really get a lot of views in the future, and it's not really pressure because the views are not there yet, and I'll be ready. A begrudging smile. Let's see. Begrudging. And my stomach is growling. I'm trying to keep talking so you guys don't hear it. Envying, resenting, grudging, be envious, be jealous. No, begrudging smile. That's not the same. That's not the word I'm looking for. That's not the word. Let's see. Let's go back with tight. A tight smile that unwillingly held his lips together. Not unwillingly. A tight smile. Let's just say a tight smile that held his lips together. That's all. You don't have to. Unwillingly, that's another me telling you what's going on. A tight smile that held his lips together helped contain the boy's thoughts, which were overflowing with a collection of unkind words. Thankfully, before bursting with meanness, Jacob realized the risk of losing his future puppy and opted to let the perfect moment of sarcasm pass, but not without mounting but not without mouthing the words, ugliest duckling, back at her while his dad continued talking to Frederick Sr. I know, Lily heard her dad say in a drunken tone. Aside to the obvious swing that began immediately after the two men embraced, he was nearing incoherence. But she hadn't seen her father in years, so what? He was drunk, and soon everyone else would know what she had been knowing the entire afternoon. He'd been drinking heavily. Nevertheless, her father, the man who'd been gone for all those years without coming to visit his children once, was back, and that's all that mattered. The last time we saw each other was right before I started working again, Fred replied. I know, I should have come back to see my children. He stumbled over the word children. It came out sounding like children. Yeah, you should have. Yeah, you should have, Henry agreed. Anyway, how's it going up there in the big city? You still making good money at the plant? Oh, it's going pretty good, I guess. I mean, hell, I still got a job. Yeah, so you made it through all the layoffs, said Henry. Shit, yeah. Those white boys can't hang with me. You know, I've been welding since high school, you know. Old man Jenkins taught me well. Yep, he's still there too. At the career center, said Henry. Oh yeah? I gotta go see the old hillbilly. With that being said, I gotta go see the old hillbilly. Okay, I think I put the quotation marks in the wrong space. Oh yeah? I gotta go see the old hillbilly. With that being said, the man's mood suddenly fell flat. Boss man told me the other day my name came up, so I don't know how much longer it's gonna be, but I think he's just looking for an excuse. I don't know how much longer it's gonna be, but he's just looking for an excuse. Excuse? Henry asked. Asked Henry. Yeah, somebody went and lied, told a man I came in drunk one Saturday. Now, Fred, did you? Come on now. What I look like? What I look like coming in? I gotta remember certain things coming in. What I look like coming in drunk? I had a few beers the night before. Might have been a 6-pack or a little more. A few shots of vodka. Me and this old Mexican gal was celebrating Cinco de Mayo. It was a few months late, but a promise is a promise. Anyway, you know me, it takes a whole lot more to get me tight. I can handle mine. With those words, Lily simply got up and left. After hearing the conversation take a slow roll downhill, the girl decided to locate Sonia. I know what you're saying, Fred, but you can't give them any excuse. You can't give them any reason. You can't give them a reason, Henry said. Look, you know what those good old boys, Look, you know those good old boys stick together. It's not just in the South either. They're everywhere, even Jersey. It had been at least 2 years since the two men had seen each other, and Henry was already unimpressed by Fred's usual detachment of responsibility. In being so, he too decided to leave the man there to go clean fish. Yeah, okay, well, I'm gonna go see what these women of mine are cooking up in the kitchen before cleaning these fish, said Henry as he walked away carrying both buckets. As Frederick Sr. turned his attention to Jacob, and with a cup of cheap whiskey in one hand, the man pivoted on the bench to face the boy, who sat across the table from him. Hey, Travis, he said. It's Jacob, the boy corrected. Let me see, I wrote a note over here. Remember, Jacob is feeling the effects of the mysterious drink. Okay. Oh, pretty sharp too, I see. That's right, Jacob. The man smiled, two gold fangs reflecting intermittently from the spasmodically. I like that word. Intermittently. That's 5 syllables. That's a lot to say right there. Reflecting. So those two words have 8 syllables. Two gold fangs reflecting intermittently from the flashing speaker lights. Flashing. That's 2 more speaker. That's a lot of syllables in those 4, 5, 6, 7 words. There's a lot of syllables there. So I'm looking at cutting that down a little bit. Let me see how it sounds again. Oh, pretty sharp too. That's right, Jacob. The man smiled. Two gold fangs reflecting intermittently from the flashing speaker lights. I also want to get my point across. I want people to realize that the speakers are still flashing, because the flashing speakers are also going to be something that triggers, that really set the party off. All right. Let me check my phone to see what's going on here, because take me a sip of water. Y'all put me on. Listen, y'all put me on, man. Put me on. When you waiting on the game to come on, ain't nothing else to do. Put me on. Put me on. Oh, pretty sharp too, I see. That's right, Jacob. The man replied, two fangs reflecting intermittently from the flashing speaker lights. The 2 fangs. 2 gold fangs reflecting. I don't have to say intermittently. Make that shorter. I don't have to say that. Oh, pretty sharp too, I see. That's right, Jacob, the man smiled, 2 gold fangs reflecting from the flashing speaker lights. 2 gold fangs. 2 gold. I don't have to say 2. I already said that. Gold fangs reflecting from the flashing speaker lights. That's right, Jacob. The man smiled, gold fangs reflecting from speaker lights. Gold fangs reflecting from flashing speaker lights. Reflecting is shining. Reflecting. voice, echoing, mirroring, returning, revealing, exposing, signal, indicating, showing, manifesting. Okay. Shining. Let's say shining. Alright. Oh, pretty sharp too, I see. That's right, Jacob, the man smiled, gold fangs shining from flashing speaker lights. Yes, gold fangs shining from flashing speaker lights. Gold fangs shining. That's a lot of F's though. From blinking. Flickering. Gold fangs shining from flashing speaker lights. Okay, we'll come back to that, y'all. I reduced it a lot, so. Oh, pretty sharp too, I see. That's right, Jacob, the man smiled, gold fangs shining from flashing speaker lights. Gold fangs shining from speaker lights. The man smiled, gold fangs shining from speaker lights. I think I need to put more emphasis on the speaker lights. Let me make this purple. I'm on page 42. We're gonna make this purple so I can come back. But I'm on page 42. Let's remember that. Shout out to my cousin Stefan Kelly. Okay, so let's go ahead and find an advanced find. Let's go ahead and find speaker. Okay. So here we have the flashing speakers. Okay. At a modest volume, old school R&B was heard playing from colorful flashing Bluetooth speakers. Though the speakers were capable of blaring bass throughout the neighborhood, Edna though the flashing speakers blinking. Sometimes all you need to do is add one word. At a modest volume, old school R&B was heard playing from colorful flashing speakers. I have a note too. The colorful speakers have an effect after they are all under the influence. Yes, absolutely. At a modest volume, old school R&B was heard playing from colorful flashing Bluetooth speakers. Though the blinking speakers were capable of blaring bass throughout the neighborhood. All right, so that's all I'm gonna do with that. You know they're blinking, you know they're flashing. Now that's page 33. So 9 pages later, right? We bring it to here, which is page 42. Just go to the purple here. Change that back black. I gotta put emphasis on the flashing speakers because the flashing speakers are gonna be the thing to trigger this event, okay? And I get the flashing speakers from my brother has a little club and he has actual flashing Bluetooth speakers, you know, and you guys see these speakers in Walmart and Best Buy. You know the ones I'm talking about. Oh, pretty sharp too, I see. That's right, Jacob. The man smiled, gold fangs shining from the speaker lights. from each flash of the speaker lights. There we go. There we go. Oh, pretty sharp too, I see. That's right, Jacob. The man smiled, gold fangs glowing. His gold fangs glowed. From each flash of the speaker lights. There we go. There we go. See, y'all made it to 35 minutes and got to see me dance. Okay, like I said, put me on, man. Stop playing around, put me on. Corn liquor. I'm joking. I'm not. It's 7:44 in the morning. I do not drink corn liquor 1 minute before 8 o'clock on Saturdays. Anyways, joking. Y'all, come on now. I don't drink. I really. If I could tell you, if I could like explain to you, my family know, my brothers, and maybe my baby sister, and my mom, and my wife, they know. They know that I don't drink, not even close to what I used to drink. I might drink. I have a bottle of Uncle Nearest Black Label. It's a 2008 bottle, so it's the bottle is what, 2008. I think it's 16 years. I don't want to do the math right now. It's a pretty old bottle. 2008. Yeah, that's 16 years, right? No, that's 17 years. 17, because my son was born in 2007. Anyways, long story short, I have a bottle over there that I bought before Christmas. It's going in today's January 31st. It's about to go into February. I still got that bottle. It's halfway full. And me and my son, and I think my wife had a few drinks too. Me and my oldest son, when we was playing spades on Christmas, we was drinking out of that bottle, and I think my wife had some, and I was drinking out of that bottle before he even came, and I hadn't had one sip since Christmas. So that says it all, y'all. That says I'm too cheap to drink the bottle. That's what it's saying, because that was expensive. Oh, excuse me. All right, let's get past this. Oh, pretty sharp too, I see. That's right, Jacob. That's right, Jacob. The man smiled. His gold fangs glowed from each flash of the speaker lights. How old are you now, Jacob? 12, 15? I'm 10, Jacob replied while looking around. He was hoping to be called away by an adult to do a chore. Any chore would do. But there was no one. They were all busy at doing adult stuff. The only other kid around was Fred Jr., who just so happened to be standing next to Suge's birthday cake, looking as though he was daydreaming about having a slice. 10? Wow. Get out of here. You're about the biggest 10-year-old I've ever seen. Look, I heard you and my daughter going back and forth. If your dad hadn't told you already, you gotta understand something about women. They like it when a man disrespects them. I know, sounds crazy, right? But look, between you and me, she likes you, little buddy. I gotta do his voice as a drunk person. You just gotta wait. You just gotta wait it out. She'll come around. Just ignore her a few days and watch and see if she ain't eating out of your hand like a trained puppy. I may not know a lot of things, but I know women. The man smiled, displaying those shiny fangs again. But Jacob tried to explain. I know she's outspoken just like her mom, but as you can see, the word C laced with concentrated ethanol darted out like a toxic missile exploding on contact with the boy's face, nearly scorching off his eyebrows. Okay, so that's I need some work on this. I know, but I'm. Oh, wait a minute. Let me go back before I forget. 10. Okay. To reply, looking around, hoping to see. Sure. The only Fred. Okay. Let's see. Have Fred Jr. and Jacob link up by the lemonade bowl to discuss spiking the drink. Have Fred Jr. and Jacob link up by the lemonade bowl to discuss spiking the drink. And with that being said, it's been 41 minutes, y'all, and I appreciate y'all stopping by. Like I said, put me on, man. Put me on when you cutting the grass. Put me in your ears. I mean, put me on when you're out there gardening around. In your garden. Gardening around in your garden. Put me on. So we're going to leave it right here. Till next time, salute from an actual Army veteran. Thank y'all for stopping by. Leave a comment, share this video, hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Till next time, y'all be blessed. I'm out.